Sunrise in Los Angeles. A quiet street turns chaotic, doors crash open, flashlights sweep through dark warehouses, and families watch in shock as federal agents move fast. This was no random raid. It was the opening move of a nationwide campaign stretching from LA to New York, from Chicago to Houston, the largest immigration sweep in modern US's history. The scale is staggering. By the end of July 2025, nearly 149,000 people had been detained, almost 50,000 of them in just 8 weeks. The message was clear. America is serious about borders, about security, about sovereignty. But these operations weren't improvised. For months, ICE teams went undercover, posing as health inspectors, quietly mapping the movements inside markets and restaurants. One video now spreading online shows agents storming a Chinese market in Los Angeles. Cameras ripped from walls, shoppers frozen in place, dozens taken into custody in minutes. In that community alone, nearly 2,000 now face deportation proceedings. And this is only the beginning. Behind the kitchens, the stalls, the paperwork, there's a deeper story waiting to be told. Follow along, subscribe, and share this report as we uncover what's been hiding in plain sight. A neon sign flickers above a late-night restaurant in Los Angeles. The tables are empty now, but investigators say what happened here had little to do with food. Behind the counter, in a back room hidden by a sliding door, agents uncover printers, laminators, stacks of plastic cards, and assembly line for fake driver's licenses. Dozens were seized, the operation dismantled in minutes. But was this just one room, one crew, or part of something far larger? By August 2025, federal sweeps in California, Texas, and New York revealed what many suspected but few could prove: networks embedded inside everyday businesses. A family spy in Houston moving thousands of dollars each week that never showed up on tax records. A corner market in Queens, modest in appearance, quietly channeling money through overseas accounts. What looks like ordinary live dining, shopping, relaxing, can double as cover for laundering schemes and identity fraud. The numbers alone are sobering. ICE reports that at peak capacity, its detention centers now hold over 60,000 individuals, the highest figure in agency history. Hundreds were arrested in just a matter of weeks, Texas working closely with local jails to speed up detentions, while in New York, resistance from state officials forced federal teams to act independently. In every case, agents insist the primary targets are not families, but organized crime, drug trafficking, fraud, and human smuggling hiding beneath storefronts. One case in Los Angeles illustrates the scale. Investigators traced a chain of restaurants to a forgery ring supplying counterfeit IDs across multiple states. Raids there led to dozens of arrests and the seizure of sophisticated equipment capable of producing documents nearly indistinguishable from state-issued cards. For prosecutors, it was proof of how deeply these networks had embedded themselves into the fabric of urban life. Yet the exposure of these hidden economies raises bigger questions. How do communities balance the need for security with the reality that many local businesses, legitimate or not, are woven into neighborhood life? What happens when enforcement collides with daily survival? When kitchens double as both workplaces and fronts for shadow economies? As agents press forward, and as videos of raids spread across social media, the picture grows sharper but also more complex. This isn't just about immigration law, it's about identity, money, and the invisible scaffolding of criminal infrastructure that props itself up in plain sight. And the question that lingers, if this is what was found beneath a handful of restaurants and markets, how much more lies hidden behind the familiar doors we pass every day? The chants echoed down Manhattan streets, hundreds holding signs, calling the raids unjust, their voices rising against the glass towers of downtown New York. Similar scenes unfolded in Chicago, where protesters blocked intersections, accusing ICE of mass detentions and warning that many of those detained were fleeing violence, not committing crimes. The images spread quickly. Mothers carrying children, community leaders arguing that the sweeps tore families apart. The Trump administration's response was blunt. American law cannot be ignored, officials repeated, framing the campaign as a defense of national sovereignty. And while the rhetoric was firm, the consequences rippled far beyond politics. In Los Angeles, business owners reported losses of 30 to 50% at Chinese restaurants and neighborhood markets. Some closed their doors for weeks, unable to keep staff or customers. Supply chains were disrupted, deliveries delayed, entire districts quieter than usual. Behind the numbers were waiters, cooks, and cashiers suddenly gone. These appeared into detention centers. One raid drew particular attention, an underground nightclub in Los Angeles. What looked like nightlife turned out to be a front. Inside, ICE agents arrested 36 individuals from China and Taiwan, charging organizers with links to narcotics distribution and sex trafficking. For investigators, it was evidence of organized crime hiding within broader migration flows. For critics, it was proof that entire communities were being criminalized based on the actions of a few. The statistics added weight to the controversy. ICE confirmed that more than 60% of those detained in August had no prior criminal record. Rights groups seized on the figure, arguing the sweeps punished the vulnerable. ICE countered, unlawful presence itself burdens hospitals, schools, and police forces, stretching local resources thin. The debate intensified: was enforcement dismantling crime or dismantling communities? In detention, the numbers hit record highs. More than 60,000 people held at once, the largest in agency history. For supporters, it was a sign of decisive action. For opponents, a humanitarian crisis hidden behind barbed wire. And so the story deepens. On the streets, protests, shuttered storefronts, and voices demanding answers. In Washington, a government insisting on the primacy of law. In detention centers, thousands awaiting uncertain futures. The nation watches, divided. Do these raids restore order and fairness, or do they fracture the very communities they claim to protect? A row of steel bunks in a detention facility hums under fluorescent light. The sound is steady, almost clinical, but behind each bunk lies a separate story, one tied not just to immigration status, but to how a country defines order, fairness, and belonging. This is where policy meets reality. August 2025 did not simply bring arrests. It redefined the geography of enforcement. The border is no longer a line on a map, it is a principle carried into urban blocks, suburban plazas, even the back rooms of businesses. The question is not just who crossed illegally, but how criminal networks have learned to use ordinary spaces as camouflage. Fake documents, shadow payrolls, underground clubs, these are not abstract threats, but systems that distort markets, siphon money, and undermine trust in institutions. At the same time, the debate has deepened. Human rights advocates caution that large sweeps can erode confidence in public services. When families fear a hospital visit or a courthouse appearance, communities grow quieter, less connected, more vulnerable. Economists point to ripple effects, entire supply chains disrupted, storefronts closing, wages depressed in industries already fragile. And within immigrant communities themselves, new rifts emerge between those who see enforcement as a lifeline against coercion and those who feel punished for simply surviving. For policymakers, this is no longer a narrow immigration question. It is a test of balance. How to confront crime without criminalizing survival. How to uphold sovereignty without eroding the social fabric that binds neighborhoods together. Law enforcement warns that failing to act allows hidden economies to flourish. Advocates counter that sweeping action risks driving them further underground. What is clear is that America has reached a threshold. Laws once confined to paper are now lived in daily practice. Every raid, every protest, every courtroom hearing is part of a broader negotiation over what security should look like in a democracy. And so we return to the core dilemma. Can a nation protect itself without losing sight of compassion? Can it draw a line strong enough to defend sovereignty, yet flexible enough to honor dignity? The answers will not come easily, but they will shape the character of America for years to come. Stay with us, share your perspective, add your voice in the comments, and subscribe for continuing coverage as this story unfolds.